Stay-at-home moms make money. The unexpected business model, transforming exhausted moms into confident earners. The coffee had gone cold again, another morning, balancing the noise of the house and the quiet questions she kept avoiding. Can I really build something of my own? She wasn't chasing millions, just freedom. The kind that fits between nap times and school pickups. For years, she'd convinced herself that motherhood meant putting everything else on hold, that wanting more was somehow selfish, that her days of building, creating, contributing beyond these walls were over. But something shifted when she stopped scrolling one afternoon and started noticing. The idea didn't come from a business book, it came from the mess on her kitchen table. She'd been organizing her kids' craft supplies for the third time that week when it hit her. Other moms were struggling with the same chaos. The same questions, the same quiet longing for something that felt like theirs. Part of her still felt guilty for wanting more, as if ambition had to disappear when motherhood began. Maybe success just wasn't meant for someone like her. But exhaustion has a funny way of forcing clarity. When you're tired of being tired, even the smallest spark of possibility feels revolutionary. She started researching during nap time. Not grand business plans or complicated spreadsheets, just simple questions typed into her phone while folding laundry. What do other stay-at-home moms actually need? What problems keep showing up in every parenting group she belonged to? The answers surprised her. It wasn't complicated software or expensive coaching programs. It was the small, practical things that made daily life smoother. Organization systems that actually worked. Meal planning templates that didn't require a culinary degree. Budget trackers designed for families living on one income. Things she'd already figured out for herself, out of necessity. What would you have done in her place? According to recent data, home-based businesses started by women have grown 40% faster than traditional small businesses over the past 5 years. The shift isn't just economic, it's cultural. Mothers are realizing that expertise doesn't require a corner office, and impact doesn't need to wait until the kids are grown. She created her first digital product on a Sunday night after everyone else had gone to bed. A simple printable planner for managing household tasks and kids' schedules. Nothing fancy, just clean, functional, useful. She priced it at $7 and listed it on a platform she'd never used before. Then she waited. The first sale came 3 days later. $7 appeared in her account from someone she'd never met in a city she'd never visited. It felt surreal, like finding money in a coat pocket, except she'd put it there herself. She smiled, not because it was easy, but because it was finally hers. That $7 changed something fundamental. Not her bank account, her belief system. If one person found value in what she created, maybe others would too. If she could make $7 while her kids played in the next room, what else was possible? Then came the doubt, the kind that whispers louder than failure. Her mother-in-law asked when she'd get a real job. Her husband supported her, but didn't quite understand why she spent so much time on something that brought in less than a coffee shop wage. Even she questioned whether it was worth the effort. The second month, she made $32. The third month, $18. She almost gave up until one message changed everything. A customer wrote to thank her, not for the planner itself, but for what it represented. This stranger, also a mother, said she'd felt invisible for so long that paying for something made by someone who understood her life felt like being seen again. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress, it looks like staying. She kept creating. Slowly, imperfectly. Between the chaos and the quiet moments. She learned that the business model transforming exhausted moms into confident earners wasn't built on venture capital or viral moments. It was built on something more sustainable, solving real problems for real people who felt exactly like she did. The model itself was surprisingly straightforward. Create once, sell repeatedly. No inventory, no shipping, no employees. Just her laptop, and the tiny pockets of time she could carve out of each day. Digital products became her foundation. Printables, templates, guides, checklists, things people could download instantly and use immediately. The profit margins were nearly perfect because there were no physical costs. Once created, each product could sell infinitely without her touching it again. But here's what the business blogs don't tell you. The psychological shift matters more than the business model. She had to stop apologizing for taking time to work. Stop minimizing her earnings when people asked what she did. Stop waiting for permission from anyone to call herself an entrepreneur. Her workspace was still her kitchen counter, but it no longer felt like chaos. It felt like possibility. By month 6, she was earning $300. By month 9, almost $1,000. The money mattered, but not as much as the identity shift. She wasn't just a mom anymore. She was also a business owner, a creator, someone building something that would exist beyond today's laundry and tomorrow's carpool. What helped her most wasn't some secret strategy, it was the realization that she could start without being ready. That good enough was actually good enough. That her unique perspective as a mother wasn't a limitation, but her greatest competitive advantage. She studied what worked, not by taking expensive courses, but by watching other successful mom entrepreneurs and noticing patterns. They weren't doing anything magical, they were just consistent. They showed up. They listened to their customers. They improved based on feedback. The most successful ones had something else in common too. They built communities, not just customer lists. They created spaces where other moms felt understood, where questions were welcomed, where imperfection was the norm, not the exception. She started a simple email list. Nothing sophisticated, just weekly check-ins with the people who bought her products. Tips she'd discovered. Honest confessions about the hard days. Questions about what they needed next. The responses surprised her again. People weren't just buying her products, they were investing in the story she represented. Proof that transformation doesn't require transformation. That you can build something meaningful without blowing up your entire life. One subscriber told her she'd been wanting to start something for 5 years, but kept waiting for the perfect moment. Seeing someone else do it imperfectly gave her permission to begin. Another said she didn't even need the products she bought. She just wanted to support someone who made her feel less alone. Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes only and does not replace consultation or assistance from a professional. Always consult a qualified professional for any questions related to finance, business, or investments. The business models that work best for stay-at-home moms share common threads. Low startup costs, flexible schedules, scalability without added time investment, and most importantly, alignment with skills they already have. Some moms sell digital art, others create online courses teaching what they know. Some offer virtual assistants. Others build subscription boxes, write ebooks, or design websites. The specific vehicle matters less than the underlying principle. Turn knowledge into income on your own terms. She diversified slowly, added a few more products, experimented with small bundles, raised her prices slightly, and was shocked when sales actually increased. People valued quality and relatability more than rock-bottom pricing. By the end of her first year, she'd made just over $14,000. Not life-changing money, not quit her spouse's job money, but enough to feel the weight lift. Enough to stop saying we can't afford it quite so often. Enough to prove she could. The transformation wasn't in her bank account, it was in how she moved through the world. She walked taller, spoke up more, made decisions faster. The quiet question that used to keep her awake, "Am I enough?" faded into something softer. Something that sounded more like "I'm becoming." What she wishes someone had told her at the beginning: start messy. Launch before you're ready. Your first version will be imperfect, and that's exactly how it should be. Perfection is just procrastination wearing a prettier mask. Also your worth isn't measured by your revenue, but revenue does change how the world treats your worth. There's power in economic independence, even if it starts with $7 on a Sunday night. The tools that helped weren't expensive: a simple design platform for creating her printables, a straightforward e-commerce site for selling them, an email service for staying connected with customers, free social media for sharing her story. What helped her most wasn't just finding the right tools, it was realizing that she didn't need permission to start small. She tested a few resources before finding what truly worked, and honestly, it changed everything. This isn't a promotion, just something that made her path a little lighter. Starting with free versions of design tools and upgrading only when the income justified it made the journey feel possible rather than overwhelming. She learned to track metrics that actually mattered. Not just revenue, but energy. Not just growth, but sustainability. Success, redefined as building something that fit her life rather than consuming it. Her kids noticed the change too. Not because she was gone more, she wasn't, but because she was more present when she was present. Less resentful, less restless, more like herself. They saw her work sometimes, watched her create, asked questions, and somewhere in those moments, they learned that mothers could be more than one thing, that wanting to build something didn't mean loving them less. The guilt never disappeared completely. Some days she still wondered if she was being selfish, if the time spent working could be better spent playing. But she also knew that her children were learning something valuable, that their mother had dreams worth pursuing, that women didn't have to choose between motherhood and purpose. 2 years in, her business crossed $5,000 a month. She hired her first contractor, another mom who needed flexible work, then another. Small acts of economic ripple that felt almost as good as her own success. She started getting messages from women asking how she did it. Not the technical how, the emotional how. How did she find the courage? How did she deal with judgment? How did she keep going when it felt pointless? Her answer was always the same: you don't find courage, you build it. One tiny decision at a time. One small risk after another. Courage is just fear that decided to move anyway. When she poured her coffee the next morning, it was still hot, because this time, she wasn't rushing. She was building. The unexpected business model wasn't really about digital products or online sales. It was about reclaiming agency. About refusing to wait for circumstances to be perfect before beginning. About proving that transformation lives in the tiny spaces between what life demands and what you dare to create. Her story isn't unique. That's what makes it powerful. Across the country, across the world, mothers are quietly building. Not because they're extraordinary, but because they're exhausted with feeling ordinary. Because they've realized that small actions, repeated consistently, create extraordinary change. The revolution isn't loud. It's happening at kitchen tables and in quiet corners. It's happening during nap times and after bedtimes. It's happening in the minds of women who decided that motherhood and ambition could coexist. That success didn't require permission. That they were enough, exactly as they were, to begin. Tell us what part of her story resonated with you most and where you're watching from. Your journey might just inspire the next one. Tell us which country or city you're watching from. See you in the next video.